Hi there, summer reading. What are you reading? I thought I'd just give a little summary of the books that I've managed to read over this summer. And first amongst them, this fantastic book, The Eagle and the Hart by Helen Castor. It's about Richard II and Henry IV, and if that turned you off, it shouldn't do. It's a fantastic Shakespearean story, but in Castor's hands, she is really able to make this so compelling. You just want to turn over every page. It's an incredible book, and if you think it's, a past century and a long time ago, the relevance to today, particularly with Richard II, his assumption of state power, dismissing judges, overturning the constitution, and his just distrust of other people, it's so relevant to what's going on in the USA today, and how Henry IV tries to put back the constitution, but to do so he has to act illegally. Fantastic book, definitely give it 5 stars. This is an incredible person. Slyvia Pankhurst is absolutely one of the most phenomenal women I've ever read about. Didn't know too much about her. There was a musical on the Old Vic, but in Rachel Holmes' hands, this is an incredible biography. Pankhurst was probably brutalised more than any of the other suffragettes, but this is not just a biography about a suffragette. It's about a committed socialist, somebody, for example, who went to the Soviet Union on a trawler because they wouldn't give her a passport, and talked with Lenin and so on. She's a very committed socialist. She had a long-term relationship with Keir Hardie that I didn't know about. She was an anti-fascist. She kind of got estranged by Emmeline and Christabel Pankhurst, her mother and her sister, because she believed in trying to bring reforms to working men and working women as well as the vote. But she fought fascism. She was a staunch defender of Ethiopian independence against the Italian invasion. In fact, she went to live in Ethiopia and her family stayed there, and that's where she's buried. 840 odd pages, maybe not to everyone's taste, but I think Rachel Holmes has done this incredible woman justice. This book by Jarman, I wasn't particularly looking forward to reading it. I thought, well, I know about the Vikings and their explorations down the Russian rivers to the east and so on and so forth. But in her hands, she weaves a marvellous tale. She examines graves. She's kind of like a forensic scientist looking into the nature of skeletons and the finds that they have with them, the swords and these beautiful carnelian beads that eventually come from India. And the story is kind of how these objects came from India to be buried in the middle of England, in Repton in Derbyshire. And she weaves an amazing tale. She describes everything on how you find out about Vikings, what they ate, what their diet was, where they went, who they fought, who they traded with. It's a brilliant book. And then finally, this book here, sensational. It is about Pinochet, who was the dictator of Chile, dreadful dictator. So many thousands of people were brutally murdered and tortured under his dictatorship. And it's about him and the sort of attempt to extradite him that went on when he visited London for medical treatment. Very compelling, by Philippe, who's written other books like East and West and The Rat Line. And it really syncs in Pinochet's story with the story of a dreadful Nazi who was Ralph, who was involved with the manufacture. He designed gas fans that killed tens of thousands of Jews in Kelmo, in Poland. He escaped. He went to Chile. He got kind of protected by the state there. And would you believe it, when Pinochet made his coup, this guy Ralph was involved in torture and interrogation of suspects and transporting them to all sorts of nasty places to be done away with in refrigerated vans. Very compelling book, meticulously researched, great read. So that's what I've been doing this summer. How about you?